In this video, I'm going to take my 4x4 Overland van out on an adventure, and as you can see, I'm going to bring my new Husqvarna 701 LR with me. I'm going to head out here from my home in southern Arizona and go west into the Santa Rita Mountains, and I'll spend the night camping out in the van, and then I'm going to spend all day tomorrow riding around on some of the back roads on the motorcycle. So this is a van and motorcycle adventure, and I hope you guys really enjoy this one. Got the bike on the back of the van right now, and I'm using a rack called Joe Hauler. A lot of you have asked me about that rack, and it's something that I put on the van when I bought this van 8 years ago. The rack itself is rated to 600 pounds of tongue weight, and the rack weighs 100 pounds, so that leaves about 500 pounds worth of motorcycle that you can carry on the back bumper. I have carried my 1200 GS on it before. That motorcycle weighs roughly 500 pounds plus if you have it loaded up with fuel, so that's definitely right at the capacity of this rack. And that was one of the reasons I got a smaller, lighter bike, is that it would also be easier to carry on the back of the van. This is the beginning of Gardner Canyon, and this is the start of Gardner Road. I'm going to head to the west up into the Santa Rita Mountains. I'm going to find a place to camp tonight, and then tomorrow I'm going to ride around Mount Wrightson. This is really cool back in here. All these forest roads, fire roads. It's quite a little maze of roads back here, and I'm just taking it easy on these little dirt roads that just keep winding through this landscape. Can't wait to get to a spot today where I can unload the bike and go for a ride. Well, I have to say that I've really come to love these mountains, the Santa Rita Mountains. They're only about an hour away from where I live. And as far as mountain ranges go, there's nothing particularly spectacular about them. They're not that big in terms of area nor height elevation. But I guess what I'm saying is that I've really come to love this little mountain range because they're not intimidating. And there's a lot of roads here. That's one of the things that I like about them the best. The Santa Rita Mountains here seem to have quite a network of dirt roads just meandering through this hill country, and it's really fantastic. There's historical things to see, old homesteads, caves, mining camps, and tons of dispersed camping out here. There's some actual primitive campgrounds, and then there's just a lot of like overlooks with fire rings where people have camped, and it's all free. It's all part of the Coronado National Forest. There's a few rules you have to follow, but it's pretty straightforward. And as far as like just a quick adventure, or even maybe a couple days like I'm doing right now, this is a really cool little mountain range. The roads aren't hard at all. They're just your basic dirt roads, fire roads. and they just meander through this beautiful hillside. It's like you're in Tuscany or something. I've never even been to Tuscany, but that's kind of what it reminds me of, except that we have cactuses here. We have cactuses, we have oak trees, and Mount Wrightson off in the distance actually gets up to over 9,000 feet in elevation. And that's kind of right in the middle of the Santa Rita Mountains. So that's pretty cool. So I'm at a place called Kentucky Camp. And this is some kind of old historic homestead. It's just down here, about a quarter mile away, but you have to park up here and then walk on this road to get down in there. So I'm gonna go down and take a look. I don't know a lot about it, but I do know that there's like an old house there that you can rent for group events or something like that. So anyways, let's go have a look at Kentucky Camp. So the Arizona Trail passes through here, and that's an 800-mile long hiking trail that goes from Mexico all the way to the northern border of Arizona, and it passes through here. This is the Kentucky Camp Trailhead. So the door to this building was open, and there was a sign outside that said to sign the register, the guest book. So that's what I did. I came in here and signed the register, and I'm just having a look around inside this really cool old historic building. The floors are wooden and there's period furnishings in here. And it's just very interesting that it's left wide open out here in the middle of nowhere. So I feel really fortunate to be able to come in here and just kind of have a little look around and sign the register and treat this place with respect. Well, that was really cool. I was not expecting that. That's a really unique piece of Arizona history, and I don't really know enough about it to say a lot, other than I believe that it was originally built because they thought that they were going to be able to do some mining in this area, and I believe they thought they would be able to collect enough rainwater to do the processing of those minerals, and as it turned out, they weren't able to do that. And so what you see here today is just a piece of history from a bygone era. And what's really unique is that you can actually rent out one of these buildings if you want to have a little getaway. They will give you a key so you can drive through the gate, park down there. There's barbecue grills, there's a modern bathroom down there. So, you know, just consider that as a unique lodging opportunity down here in southern Arizona. Well, it's getting dark out. The sun has just set. It's a beautiful night up here in the Santa Rita Mountains. And I don't feel like camping right in the parking lot here. I think I absolutely could. There's nobody else around. But I'm just going to drive a little ways further, see if I can find like a nice hilltop, set up my nighttime van camping setup, and make some dinner. There's something about cooking on a charcoal fire that I just really like. You have to have some patience to get the coals going and get a nice bed of embers, but I really enjoy cooking on charcoal, especially when it comes to cooking meat. And tonight I've got a few pork chops that I'm going to cook, and I'm going to make like a honey red pepper glaze for my pork chops, so it should be a pretty good meal tonight. Nothing fancy tonight, just a basic dinner out here in the middle of the desert. Glad you guys joined me for this one, and I hope you stick around because I'm gonna go ride my new motorcycle tomorrow. So that's looking pretty good. I put in a little bit of olive oil and then some onions and garlic, some red pepper, and some honey. And so this is going to be the glaze that I'll put over the pork chops. I'll add a little bit more olive oil here, and then I'll put the broccoli in there, and it can kind of soak up the juices from that glaze. Oh, mashed potatoes are done. Oh man, that is good. That's some homemade cooking here.
I spend most of my time viewing what I want from the outside. I comb it over like it's the scene of a crime. The only guilty I find staring back at me in the mirror at night, stuck in place just waiting for a green light.
All I've done so far is put on a tank bag and a tail bag. That's the bare minimum. I'll be able to carry my camera and my drone, a little bit of water and some tools. So this is just going to be a short day ride to get some footage and just test out the new bike. A lot of people ask me how I find roads. How do I find these places to go out and ride and camp? And there's a number of different ways that I do that. Everything from guidebooks to just doing a Google search. There's websites that I go to. Down here in Arizona, I actually get a lot of ideas from the magazine Arizona Highways and their website. On the internet, there's a variety of ways to find places that you can go and ride. I use several of the mapping software apps like Gaia GPS, Rever, Trails Off-Road, and in this case, Onyx. Onyx is a company that makes an app that shows you specific motorcycle, ATV, OHV, overlanding trails and routes throughout the United States. And when you use their app, it's a subscription-based program. I think it costs around $30 a year. That's one of the places where I get suggested routes, places that I can go ride when I'm in a certain area. So in this case, down here in southern Arizona, I opened up the map and I just took a look to see what's close to home where I live. And in this case, I found a couple of roads to go out and explore. And so that's where I'm going to go head today. It's been really fun so far. I'm having a really good time on my new motorcycle. Super light, super fun. It's just like a little squirrel. It just attacks these roads and I'm actually loving it. So I'm up here at the high point of Bull Springs Road. Looking off in the distance, I can see the road that I just came in on, the desert floor down below, and then several more mountain ranges off in the distance. I'm gonna head down now and get on the other side of this. What a great day. I'm loving this new Husky 701. It was so much fun to ride and I can't wait to get out again. We'll see you next time.